back to another episode of Backyard Beekeeping here at Herondale Apiaries. Today I want to cover the different ways you can get your own colony of bees. There's a few different strategies to obtaining bees. You can catch a feral colony of bees from the wild. You can cut them out from their current home and give them a new home under your care. You can catch a swarm. A swarm is just a natural way a colony of bees reproduces and becomes two colonies. We'll cover more of those two ways in other videos. But what we have here is a great deal easier, though more expensive, in that I purchased two nucleus colonies from a commercial beekeeper. I ordered these two colonies online. They can vary in price from one beekeeper to another, but generally they sell for between $150 and $200. They also vary in quality, but will typically consist of 5 frames of drawn cone, filled with 3 to 4 frames of various stages of brood laid by a newly hatched and mated queen. The remainder of the frames are typically filled with capped honey, nectar, and pollen stores. This particular nuke came with these corrugated plastic Jester Easy Nuke boxes. The commercial beekeeper made these over the period of about 2 months. Woke up early one day before the forager bees had a chance to leave, and he taped the entrance shut. That same day I drove out to his bee yard in the middle of the state next to an orange grove and tossed these two young colonies of bees into the back of my hatchback for a fun panic-filled drive home for an hour and a half as bees slowly found all their ways out of the nooks and crannies of the box. The day before this I came out to my nicely set up new hive stands in the backyard and staged up some bottom boards and some hive bodies, put 5 frames of foundation ready for each new colony. I was lucky in that I did have one spare frame of drawn wax comb that I was able to give to one colony. New young colonies always enjoy having the wax to work with already, as it does take a considerable amount of resources for young bees to produce wax. Once I got these nukes home, I worked quickly to open them up, inspected each frame as I pulled them from their plastic box, and set them in the same order into their new permanent homes. At this time it's nice to get an eye on the queen and make sure she's in good shape with no damage from transporting. Admittedly, I took the turn on the interchange from I-4 to 275 a little too quick and one of the colonies did topple over, but it didn't break anything and I spotted the queen and she was doing just fine. Here you can see I spotted the queen. She is considerably bigger than the others. This one's particularly more amber in color. Once she realized I saw her, she kind of scurried away there. So then once all the frames are into their new homes, you can shake out the remaining bees from the bottom of a plastic nuke box. I let it sit open next to the entrance of the new hive so any stragglers can make their way in. Later I put a hive top feeder with some sugar syrup and some pollen patty for the bees to use. As a new young nuke colony doesn't typically have a large field force of foraging bees, it's good to provide them with these food resources to help speed up their development. Now, the first thing I learned when I went to bee college at the University of Florida was that honeybee is actually 2 words. And now your phone's autocorrect isn't going to know this, it's going to think honeybee is 1 word. But the fact that a honeybee is in fact a bee makes it that way, compared to say a dragonfly, which is not actually a fly, or a butterfly, which is not actually a fly. A honeybee is in fact a bee. Now that you've seen the one installation of a nuke, I'm going to go ahead and speed this process up for the second one. Fun fact about bees, We're particularly working here with the honeybee. Comes from European descent. There's several different subspecies of bee that we work with. Different breeders like to brag about different lines, different strains of subspecies they're working with, but generally all the ones we have here are of some kind of Eastern European descent. One thing you do notice here on these different kinds of setups from commercial beekeepers is they'll use various types of equipment. You'll see some of these plastic frames, some wood frames, some would be black plastic, some will be white plastic. Some of the wood frames had black plastic foundation on them. Some of the wood frames were foundationless. One thing I have noted a difference with plastic frames compared to the wood frames is the bees do like to draw extra what we call burr comb on top of it. Sometimes it makes it a little tricky. You just have to remember to scrape it off occasionally. Sometimes when you go to pull your lid off and there's too much of that comb, it will actually attach the frame to the lid. And when you try to pull the lid up, you'll also pull the frame up with it. Thank you for watching my video on how to install 2 nucs in your backyard. Please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.